Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, do we have a positive trend developing for Chance McMillan as we prepare for a Sweet 16 round again?
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. And thanks as always for making us your first listen. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you. Kicking off another week that continues to involve Red Raider basketball. Staying alive, baby. We're going BG's mode, and we're headed out to San Francisco for a Sweet 16 round. We'll begin, obviously, to look ahead to that matchup as we roll through the week. And I think in order to do so, we're going to also kind of look back on today's episode to what we've seen in the first two rounds, more so on the kind of non-offensive impact end. I want to specify that offensively, Chris, because guys like Christian Anderson that we talk about, I know are doing things still that do not show up as far as a point total or an offensive box score is concerned. But you're going to have some of that from guys like Anderson, obviously guys like Overton, Walton. You know the list. Some of those that really are going to have to pick up some slack as the competition gets even stiffer. We'll get to that. Obviously, a health report always on the minds as well when you continue to operate without one of your best in Chance McMillan. So want to touch base with you on that front. And I want to get to what I feel like in some ways, maybe some would consider the tournament that you should be in, which is a top 16 field. I think some expectations this season sort of baseline had you landing here. No, it's much more difficult to do, easier said than done. But when you think about what kind of team you are and also where you wound up being ranked for the majority of it as you finish the regular season, this is kind of where you belong. So I want to talk about some expectations and now how they've lined up. But Chris, you are here again, just in general as a program, different head coach, but another trip. You and I have been touching on this the last couple of weeks, just trying to not take for granted what this program is doing, even in the face of what has been some moments of adversity, I guess you might say, in some recent years, but also some of your greatest moments of success. And you could be on the way to another one of those. Wild to think about.
Yeah, I think there was a time where everybody would have thought publicly that your baseball program was kind of your, when it reached the World Series. I don't know, what was it? You'd have to help me out here, Cowan. Was it like 4 out of 7, 4 out of 8, 4 out of 6, something along those lines, which seems a bit far removed as we sit here now. That's that they have kind of fallen back a bit as a program. You look at what track and field does. You look at what football has been doing, and obviously Coach Kitley's program, and that's golf and all that. But I just think that what basketball has been able to do, because again, it's one of your high profile sports. It just is. I watched. We'll get into this maybe later this week or in the next week. But there's a presentation out there about the new way of athletics and how Texas Tech is going to attack it and their thoughts on everything and how all the things work. And the only two sports mentioned in this nearly 1 hour presentation were football and men's hoops. That's it, because they fund everything else. And I just think it's worth noting that men's hoops has been 4 Sweet 16s in the last 7 years with 3 different coaches. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, and that's pretty salty. And it's not, you haven't won a championship, you haven't won a conference championship other than sharing it in 1 year, and so there's meat left on the bone. I'm not saying you've made it or you're a made man or anything like that, but I think what it's proven to you is that this is a consistent winner. This is a consistent factor in being relevant and not just a revenue generator or whatever, but this is, you can compete at the highest of stages in this particular sport, and you're continuing to do that regardless of who's coaching you. Now, I happen to think this particular individual that is in charge of you now has got the big long-term picture in mind here. And I think that, he's like, you can win big here. I mean, like with what you have available to you, and that's what it takes. That's absolutely what it takes. It takes us squeezing everything out of what we have, but it takes things to get JT Toppin to come here, to keep Darion Williams here, to keep Chance McMillan here, to get Elijah Hawkins to come here, all those things. But yeah, I just, and it's not lost on me that I was just in San Francisco, which is where you're headed, 4 years ago, with a completely different team and a completely different coaching staff. And you were about to play, a Duke program with Mike Krzyzewski in his last season. They had a whole bunch of draft picks. And then here you are knocking on the door again and returning. And that just says something about your program and its staying power and its national relevancy, in my opinion.
Crazy to think about, because what if I told you going back that, okay, I'm going to give you this coach, going to take you to a national title game, and then you're going to lose everything. Okay, and then I'm going to give you another coach. He's going to be a carryover, some consistency. You're going to have some pretty good success early on, and then you're going to lose everything. And then I bring in another coach, and you're going to be in even better hands than you ever were before. Because I almost feel like, again, that seems kind of like maybe dopey or naive to even say out loud. I don't know what the ultimate verdict will be for the McCasland tenure, but I almost feel that way. You've like double traded up through all of this somehow, and you've gotten into even what seems like a more fruitful position or situation with the leadership of your program.
Because Grant is so widely respected in the profession. There's not all the some of the drama. Yeah, you don't have a fireside chat. You don't have some of that stuff going on, but it's just stability. It's boring to the extent of winning, if that makes sense. Like, and like I greatly respect who he is, how he goes about it. You get the exact same guy every day. I'm fortunate enough to see him a lot, and it's like I know what I'm going to get when I see the head coach, whether it's a win or a loss, day before game, just before game, and it's steady. And I think it may not be like that all the time. This is what I see, but I just think that goes a long way in trying to run a program at this level. Like he's just like the captain, right? Yeah. And he's. He's just got that boat, and it's like where everything's good, kind of thing. There's a level of confidence that his leadership and who he surrounded himself with, that, and again, some of these guys, as you continue to win, it's going to cost your university more to keep it together. And some of these folks are going to be like, we kind of like to be in that Texas Tech business. Like, let's give old Coach insert blank here a call. I mean, I've seen Luke Barnwell associated with the Oral Roberts job. Coach Linder's name has been tossed out there, a variety of things. It's a matter of time before AC is who should get a ton of credit for your player development and some of these guys and all that stuff. But this is the way it's supposed to go. And I hope this group stays together long term. But obviously, Coach Breyer, he may take a couple of graduate assistants or who knows what with him to Nacogdoches whenever when he does leave and the season ends. But it's just it's been awesome, and I don't disagree with your premise there.
And I kind of wonder, going back to the regular season and some expectations and sort of where we believe this team could wind up. We've talked about this. Like, for me as a fan, prior to the year, I'm thinking, is this one of the best rosters that's ever been in Lubbock? Looked like it could be really complete, could be really deep and versatile. And you get into the season, and I'm sort of thinking, well, I was certainly off on that because it didn't actually look like that. But as pieces eventually came together, and you had some things out of your control, obviously, that impacted that process, whether it was injury or defections or whatever it might have been. But when they eventually did come together, it was kind of back to like, oh, no, this is going to be one of the more special groups that you've had come through Lubbock, and you wind up in a spot to compete for Big 12 hardware late in the season. You don't quite get there, but still nonetheless, you have a great regular season. But I'm thinking all along, Chris, that a lot would answer if they were asked about expectations for this team with a Sweet 16 kind of round as a kind of like baseline qualifier. This is where we belong. You wind up, in the top 10 as far as AP ranking and things like that. We know what the metrics said also about where you were. So I don't want to in any way, shape, or form diminish the challenge of getting here or how special it is to get here, because I know we all are feeling that as we kick off this week as Red Raiders. But still, I do feel like this is the category of team nationally that you've been among, top 16 and actually even a little bit beyond that. So I don't want to say like, well, the real tournament starts now or something like that. But I will say that I think a lot of fans had this kind of expectation. And to this point, you have lived up to, I think, sort of a baseline of what type of team you should be, thankfully. And now you can see if maybe there's something special, even beyond Sweet 16 to this season. How do you feel about that thought and where you kind of were looking at this team overall and thinking, they need to be in this type of category to really live up to some of what maybe the roster had them capable of? Do you feel that way about this round? Do you describe it differently? What do you think?
Today's episode brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Fixes tired fast. Whether you've got a long list of tasks at work or a bundle of DIY projects to tackle at home, take a 5 Hour Energy shot so you can cover everything with energy to spare. If you're like me, you've always got a lengthy list of things to get done around the house. So when you get your supplies for any project, don't forget the most essential one, a 5 Hour Energy shot. 5 Hour Energy shots give you the feeling of alertness and energy you need to get in the zone. And that's why 5 Hour Energy is the brand hardworking people like you have trusted for over 20 years to give them the alert, energized feeling they need to get through a busy and hectic day. And you always know where to find 5 Hour Energy shots, right at the cash register at nearly every convenience, drug, and grocery store nationwide. Even better, stock up on money-saving multi-packs to make sure you never run out of delicious, energizing 5 Hour Energy shots. And right now, if you go to 5hourenergy.com, that's the number 5hourenergy.com, and get some 5 Hour Energy today, you can use our promo code LOCKEDONCFB. That's LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. This offer only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions and does not apply to subscription orders. Boost your day, boost your life, and get in the Get It Done zone by going to 5hourenergy.com today.
I think there was going to be a bit of a hollow feeling toward this season, and not necessarily that it would have been fair if you hadn't advanced to this point. I think at this point now, everything's like, I don't want to say gravy, or I don't know if you could just put all the expectations like, oh, everything's a miserable failure if you don't get to the Elite Eight or the Final Four, whatever. I'm not going to be in that camp. I could be, can't convince me otherwise.
It is gravy. I think that was a good way to describe it.
Yeah. It's like, anything else is like that $20 bill you found in that coat and you're like, oh, damn, look at that. Holy cow. Like it could be a good day today, even though
Final Four in this jacket.
It was probably your $20 to begin with. So you really just kind of refound it. But you know what I'm saying? I think that had you – because there'll be look at St. John's. I mean, they won 30-plus. Rick Pitino party. We're doing the whole thing. Shout out to Italian restaurants in Louisville, Kentucky, and everything like that. I see you, Rick. Glad you got a Iona and the Johnnies gave you a new lease on life, man. After everything that went on in Louisville, you deserve
Ducking Texas Tech again.
You're a good coach, but ducking Texas Tech again.
He saw it. He saw the bracket. He didn't want any.
They won 30 plus. They're a 2 seed. Everybody's got them into the Final Four, and they're going to be the one. And then they lose in the second round, and it was no fluke. Arkansas just handled them. Yeah, they just couldn't shoot. And that's been a problem. So my point of bringing that up is it's just hard, man. And like, you don't know how the bracket is going to fall for you. You don't know whether you're facing the double-digit seed like Drake. Yeah, man, this is what we wanted, or is this like a bad thing? I mean, that's the beauty of this tournament. And it's just like NC State last year. It would have been nice not to have to face a Power Four team that was figuring it all out at the right time in NC State, but this is the matchup that you were given. So anyway, I think though that you've now solidified. We can now talk about this team, and we will remember it fondly based on getting to this point. And now let's see how far you can take it. But it kind of takes to get to this point to now create a bit of a legacy for yourself, if that makes sense, that
Sure.
lasts. And now we will certainly, because I mean, I will be able to for a long time. I could tell you that 8-man rotation for the last Sweet 16 that lost to Duke. I mean, that was that was a damn good team, man. I mean, they were salty. You were an elite defensive team, and they just ran up against somebody that was better. The fascinating thing about this year is you could see 3 double-digit seeds in a row. Well, I mean, you are going to see 3 double-digit seeds in a row, the 14, the 11, and the 10, just to get to the Elite 8. It's just weird how it works out sometimes. And again, is that we get Arkansas, or may have been better to play St. John's? I don't know, but that's we'll find out together. But yeah, you I think have really solidified your legacy for this team a bit so far, and let's see how far we can take it.
I got to agree also with the sentiment I saw online that it was the ultimate mind game for Calipari to wear a jacket made out of a tablecloth from that Italian restaurant in Louisville, Kentucky. And clearly you could see it affected Pitino. At this point in the tournament, I'm just kind of like, is it good? Is it bad? Is it better? Is it worse? I don't know. Everybody's tough. Everybody's good. Everybody's probably got really good coaches, and they're probably deep and blah, blah, blah. This is just what comes with it. So let's step up to the plate and take a big rip. But I do feel like, yes, you feel like this team, whether it's the roster or what the coaching staff got out of it, you have lived up to what I think the investment kind of justified. I've said the word baseline several times, so I'm not trying to say like, this is the ceiling. You got out there, you spent the money, you went after the guys, and you said, let's be a Sweet 16 team. I know that's not what they're saying. They're saying, let's win the whole damn thing. And maybe you will. But I do feel like you did get into at least the realm where you're not feeling like, man, another cup of coffee in the tournament. And you kind of talked about this going into the first weekend, like, man, if you don't win one, and maybe even if you don't win two, is there some type of little narrative crafted out there this offseason that like, they hadn't got over the hump yet postseason-wise with Grant McCasland? Can they get over? And I think maybe there would have been. So I kind of feel like you've at least dispelled that sort of thing now that you've gotten where you've gotten. And congrats to Coach McCasland and his staff. I enjoyed seeing so many of the pictures shared on X and elsewhere, Chris, of some of his other, hardware winning teams at like Midland College. I saw some of those. He looks like he's about 14 years old leading that team, but wasn't too long ago, man. And now he's right back here just doing what he's continued to do everywhere he's gone, just win. So hopefully we see more of it.
He's such a great fit here. I mean, such a great fit. His family, his wife, Cece, I mean, just the whole thing is just such a good fit for his passion, all the stuff. It's such a good fit for Lubbock, Texas. And again, as he knows, they've got plenty of resources around here. And as long as it stays that way, boy, this is a great job. I mean, and again, I would tell you, it wasn't always a great job. I mean, you had to fight, scratch and claw, and you didn't used to have this or that, but you have this or that now. And I think somebody like Grant McCasland, with the work ethic and his character and the respect that he's got in the industry and all that, using those resources correctly, it's a fun little combination. Because you're about to start, BYU into the Sweet 16 as well. They're not going anywhere. There's rumors about the kind of money they're about to start spending and are already spending. I mean, they're not going anywhere, folks. So you can buckle up for BYU to start finishing at the top of the standings in hoops for a while, as long as that thing stays put. And then everybody's trying to chase the Texas Techs and the BYUs and the Houstons, and obviously Kansas is going to go back to the drawing board and all that. But I mean, it's your league has been pretty darn good here in this NCAA tournament. So. Yeah,
I do want to actually get to that with you on an upcoming episode, just kind of the lay of the Big 12 landscape as compared to some other leagues, because that's obviously been interesting and just tore up to see more of the SEC sent home over the weekend. I can't believe the Aggies did not live up to more national ranking love and seeding love. It's not like them to not live up to what people think they're going to be. I'm just shocked and appalled by that. And by shocked and appalled, I mean in love with it. But I do want to get to some thoughts on the Big 12 Conference and what they've been able to do so far. But before we get out of here, Chris, I'm curious to touch base with you on some individuals. And I do want to get to the health thing, which is always kind of lingering out there. I don't know if we're including Darion Williams in that conversation anymore, because even though he did jog off the floor at one point in time, looked like he was feeling pretty good there in Wichita. But obviously McMillan's still on the minds of a lot of folks.
Well, there was we'll get to Chance and Christian Anderson and Overton and these guys, Federico. But there was a point at the end of the game versus Drake on the broadcast, and I look up, and JT Toppin is at the free throw line. He has shot one. He bends over, and he's like massaging his own calf, and he's like kind of limping around. It was tightening up. He'd already had it been worked on. Darion Williams is over on the floor with one of those Theraguns. And I'm like, is that even legal? Can he be like inserted into the game, even though we're just shooting free throws, and like using this equipment to like hammer his hamstring and calf and everything like that? I don't know, but they were doing it. And then Elijah Hawkins is sitting there with this giant water bottle, like just trying to rehydrate. And I'm like, we are at the end of end of the rope, man, and you're just trying to hang on. Like we're just like, it was like a like a NASCAR pit crew stop. It's like then all the wheels come off and everything. I'm like, we got calves being massaged, we got Theraguns, we got water bottles. It was just like a pit stop.
It reminded me of Space Jam when you got Elmer Fudd and the Iron Lung over on the bench. They're all wounded and giving it all we got, boys.
I love it. Okay, so this is something worth noting here as it relates to Christian Anderson, and I bet most people don't even know this. But Grant told us on the broadcast before the game Saturday that Christian had been dealing with, a bit of an illness and wasn't feeling well. They were kind of trying to manage it. And I think that has to have contributed to him being, let me make sure that I have the numbers right, because he was 2 of 14 from 3 and 4 of 18 from the field in these two games combined. Okay,
2 of 9 in both, right?
Yeah, and this isn't the player that we've seen, and this isn't the player that he is. I think you add first NCAA tournament, you add not feeling great, and yet to his credit, and I think he deserves a ton of credit against Drake. Let's see here. He plays 37 minutes. 37.
That's all.
So, and I think he guarded well. He was locked in. Shots were just a bit short. And he's just too good. And I don't say this about too many people. He's just too good. And I'll say it for the third time. He's just too good for this to continue. Like he's special. He's got it. He will get in that gym. It will motivate him, but he's just not. This will not continue. And I hope you get more games to let it play out. But this isn't just, this isn't him. But get him feeling better. Get him back to normal. Now you got the jitters out or whatever, and just and feeling better and all that stuff. But no, this will not continue. Now to the Chance McMillan portion of the program.
First, today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Imagine watching your favorite team at the college basketball tournament live, feeling the energy of the crowd, witnessing unforgettable moments. We all know there's nothing like experiencing a big game in person, and getting tickets shouldn't be stressful. That's where Game Time comes in, making it easier than ever to grab last-minute seats at unbeatable prices. With Game Time Picks, curation makes it even easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And the one and only lowest price guarantee, which means you get the lowest price, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Plus, peace of mind with seat views before you buy, no surprise fees, and the lowest price guarantee. You can book with total confidence. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed.
Now to the Chance McMillan portion of the program. After the game Thursday, versus UNC Wilmington, a reporter was in the locker room. They have open locker room settings in the NCAA tournament, and he indicated to somebody from CBS it's an ab injury, okay, which we kind of knew. It's an ab injury. It's a pain tolerance issue. It's a limitation, on movement issue. And that each day goes by, it gets better and better. This is Chance's business to tell if he wanted to tell it, and he did. This isn't like, the school or the doctor is not going to get into this, but if Chance wants to, get into this, then this is it's his deal. He's allowed to talk, and that's kind of what happened in that setting. So you get a better feel for what exactly you're dealing with. It will be, I guess, 2 weeks to the day that against Baylor in Kansas City. It's amazing how many different cities I've been in, because it's like I'm trying to remember what day and then what city I was in, because it was like Phoenix, then it was Kansas City, then it was Wichita. It's about to be San Fran. What in the hell is going on? Well, it's March Madness, damn it. And so
Chris Level, the Motley Crew of the Big 12.
Jeez. Yeah. So, like, what city was it that Chance got hurt in? I can't remember. But
it was March 13th, right? So you're talking 2 weeks to Thursday?
Yeah.
But
here's what most people – yes, I believe that's right. But what most people don't know, and this is the reason I was getting into the cities, I actually think he got it dinged up initially in Phoenix the Saturday before, okay, in the regular season finale. He got it hit, and then I think it on that Thursday game versus Baylor, I think it got re-aggravated and it worsened. So anyway, I say all that to say I would have very high hopes of seeing him in uniform and playing at some level in San Francisco. I think it will come down to at what level do you get? And that's what Grant will say. It was like, I think this is getting better. Each day's gone by. We're trying to do everything we can. It's not going to surprise me if he plays. It's just at what level does he play is kind of what we're dealing with here. But any of Chance McMillan is going to be good for you, even if it's just 60%, 70%, just because of an extra piece to your rotation. And I just think that what it would do to the spirits of everyone. But I think I got to tell you, I'm mostly expecting it to see him on the floor on Thursday night. So, and I don't just throw that around. I'm not trying to be irresponsible, but and if he doesn't, then that's on me. And maybe I guessed wrong, but I just think that's where we're headed here.
If he doesn't, you owe us another high-flying, versatile, defending three-point shooter if you can come up with one.
Yeah,
I'd really like to have one of those back in
the guess what? You'll be in San Francisco in Steph Curry's home arena, so I'll see if he's free that night.
All right, yeah, just run the flag out the pole and see if we get an answer back.
Yeah, put the bat signal up. Hey, we need a Davidson grad down here to borrow you for the night. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a positive start to the week, I guess, for the Chance McMillan portion of the program. We'll see what actually comes to fruition on Thursday night. And, yeah, I'm inclined to agree with Christian Anderson, just aside from even sickness or whatever might have been slowing him down a little bit to the tune of 37 minutes, as Chris just mentioned. But just too good to continue to, I think, have those kinds of offensive struggles. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, but I think we'll see him break through. And I was honestly glad, just looking for a little silver lining, to see that three go down, I guess, in the second half.
Yes,
Drake,
from the corner. Yep.
You know how it goes for a shooter, man. Maybe you just see that net pop one time and you're like, okay, that's what it's like. So I'll get back to that.
Yeah, bang, bang. Yeah, he got him one. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. But the thing about Christian that I have admired and respected so much is that there's too many guys that would wear it outwardly that they weren't shooting it well, or that they weren't. But he's been coached really well, and he'll listen to this coaching. He runs toward it. He will sit there and tell you in these press settings, when you don't have a good shooting night, you can't let it affect the defensive your defensive play or the other end of the floor. And like Grant McCaslin has to be going, yes. This is like a dream come true. This kid, that's why I'm saying, man, he just kind of, he's got this whole thing. And I appreciate that, but you would never know that he was 2 of 9 from the field in either one of these games. He doesn't because he doesn't let it affect him, and the body language doesn't change, and he still keeps heaving it up. And when Grant says, "What are you doing?" or "Don't leave it short," or "You got to go this or that," he just says, "Yes, sir." I mean, there's no, and there's not everybody's that way. And I think that I think it's hard to be the way that Christian Anderson is. But I mean, to his credit, I admire it, man. It's fun to watch.
It's hard to be that way when you're 45. What is
1,000%? Yep, I totally agree with
17?
you. Yes,
I mean, he's just so mature beyond his years, and that's a great thing to see. And I'm sure some of that mental toughness will help him in a spot like this. He tries to kind of break out of that. But
his dad gave him a lot of this mental toughness because his dad was a great player in Germany, and his dad's just done phenomenal with those kids as players and as humans and all that stuff. And so I think that's what is. I think there's a toughness that this is the way this is, and like, understand it. Don't try to fight it. And if this isn't for you, then go do something else. But no, he's in the fight for sure.
And I think I would say that a lot of that, he probably getting some of that from the locker room as well, because I think in a lot of ways your culture as a team or a program kind of speaks to those same things. So it adds up to a lot of fun basketball, at least to the tune of a Sweet 16 appearance so far. We'll see if you can get a Sweet 16 win and keep the party going. Still plenty more this week as we are partying on to San Francisco. And I want to get into, as I mentioned, some of the results from the first couple of rounds so far with the Big 12 Conference and some of the other leagues, and a whole lot more as we get ready for Red Raiders and Hogs on Thursday night. We got a Calipari vendetta ride from not too long ago to think about. We got an Arkansas vendetta ride to think about. It was an NCAA tournament collision that bounced you with the Hogs not too long ago. So it should be fun, man. And I always enjoy, of course, just getting together with that insane fan base that they got going on there with Arkansas. So the environment should be wild.
It always all points back to Arkansas for whatever reason, no matter the sport, it seems like. It's just like a weirdest dynamic, man. But yeah. You definitely owe them a little bit for sure.
Yeah, we do. And ready to start cutting some bacon on them backs Thursday night. All right, sharpen up your knives this week, boys. Chris, appreciate your time as always, man. Thanks for the insights, and we'll see you on the other side.
We love you all. Appreciate it. Guns up, man. The madness is here, and it's headed to the West Coast. Hope to see you there. Yes.
That's right. Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. Shout out to the Everydayers and the Matador Mob. Hit the show notes, find a link to a free 14-day trial. That's your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text sent straight to your phone. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks for the time. And as always, we hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.